Could we see one of NASCAR's most iconic trophies go away? Plus, do we have a road course problem in NASCAR? Welcome back to the Breaking Bob channel. Hope y'all are doing well on this Thursday night. We are getting closer to Sonoma weekend, where we're in the middle of road course summer. It feels like a lot of thoughts on the turning left and right here in a few. We'll get to that. But as always, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button here at Breaking Bob so you don't miss a thing as far as NASCAR content on a daily basis. But got a lot to get into. Brad Keselowski's got some road course thoughts. But before we get into that, let's talk some more serious things and let's put a wrap on Chicago weekend, where Cody Ware, of course, the subject of conversation as his late race caution ended the race about 35 seconds too late. But Cody Ware, of course, had a issue with his car that sent him flying into the tire barrier at head on at full speed, one of the hardest impacts in next gen history. And Cody Ware actually talked to Sirius XM NASCAR today and talked about some of the repercussions of that, the impact, of course, and the damage that was done, not only to the car, but his race equipment, his safety equipment. Listen to what Cody Ware says here.
Pretty much everything from the interior of the car as well as my gear was killed in that impact. So thankfully getting a new helmet, a new Hans, there was a crack in the EPS foam inside the helmet. Hans device was cracked. Steering wheel, got bent up pretty good as well. So I think, it's just a testimony to all the safety people that, are selling us helmets and Hanses, as well as, the steering wheels from Max Pappas, and then my interior guys and all the guys at RWR that are building these race cars.
When you have your Hans device cracking and the foam in your helmet cracking and your steering wheel snapping, like that is a massive, massive impact. Now, like I said a second ago, this is one of the heaviest impacts from the next gen era. And Cody Ware talks later in that interview about how his impact at Texas in 2022, where he broke his leg. He was thinking about the right before the impact. And this next gen car has come a long way as far as safety. Just think about, this is the car that 3 years ago, Kurt Busch had his career ended at Pocono off of the rear clip hitting back. And a lot of drivers were saying that concussions were a big problem with this car. It seems like the last few years they figured out the safety, and just another testament. And what a way with Cody Ware's just vicious impact, the way he was able to get out of that car okay for the most part. And outside of some damaged equipment, he's going to be able to replace that, and he'll be at Sonoma this weekend. Just a credit all around to the safety team. Moving on, let's get out of the road course talk for a second. Let's get into some short track talk for a minute. There is Martinsville Speedway, of course, twice a year graces the NASCAR calendar, and it's one of the most iconic venues in NASCAR. Of course, the paperclip, the short track racing, but also the winners are always vying for that grandfather clock. It's one of the most iconic trophies in NASCAR. It's just unique. Some drivers and crew chiefs and spotters kind of hit or miss on it, but they always come around to it, it seems like, once it's time to claim that grandfather clock. It's an iconic part of winning at Martinsville. It's like the sword at Bristol. It really, or the wreath at Talladega with Austin Cindric donning it this year. It's just part of winning at Martinsville. It's iconic, and we might just be seeing that go away potentially, as it was announced today that the manufacturer of the grandfather clock that is given out at Martinsville, Howard Miller up in Michigan, is set to close its doors after 2025. Now, they'll still have some inventory left over. Don't worry, NASCAR fans, you'll see the clocks given out this fall at Martinsville, but after that, who knows what's to be said. Not a done deal. NASCAR has not said anything about it. This is so fresh, but the company closing cited different reasons: the market, tariffs, the sales, of course. I mean, grandfather clocks aren't selling very well. You don't see them in many houses nowadays, but it's still a really cool tradition for NASCAR to give away to the winner. All those drivers look forward to it. Like the Lobster at New Hampshire, some drivers don't want to touch it, but at the end of the day, it's a cool part of each track's identity. Don't want to see that go away. And there's not many manufacturers, but I'm hoping NASCAR can find somebody to build at least a replica of these grandfather clocks to give out, because it's such a cool part of Martinsville lore. But let me know your thoughts down below. If not that, what do you want to see for the Martinsville winner? All right, let's get back into road course talk. We had a detour in Martinsville, but let's get back into it, because we're in the middle of road course summer in NASCAR, it feels like, as this is part of a stretch right now. We're in the middle of 4 of 9 races being road course races in the NASCAR schedule, and some fans aren't thrilled about it. Some like it, but especially right now, we're on a back-to-back. Chicago Street last week, and now we're going to wine country on the West Coast in Sonoma. NASCAR is still racing in California. A lot of people forget that, but not in Southern California, just up in wine country in Sonoma. Yes, it's a little desert now. I'd love to see them race in the spring when it's green there. But with that, some people don't want to see them running all these road courses at all. Maybe one or two a year. And go back to the old days where it's Watkins Glen and Sonoma were really the only two road courses on the schedule. And all these road course ringers came in and just kind of came in and rode around there. Maybe SVG winning's kind of rubbing some people the wrong way. I don't know. But Brad Keselowski is one of these drivers that is saying that we might have too many road courses on the schedule. Listen to this tweet. We went from 2 to 6 road course races, possibly 7 next year. NASCAR was successfully built as a primary oval racing series. IMSA was built as the primary road course series in North America. IMSA will always do road racing better than NASCAR, and that's okay. Yes, too many road course races in NASCAR. Well, Brad, nobody's arguing that IMSA does road racing better than NASCAR. Not a single person in this world. And if you are, point me to that comment so I can put them on an absolute clinic, because no, nobody's arguing that IMSA is better, but NASCAR has always claimed themselves as the most diverse range of driving in the world, because you have short track ovals, you have drafting style tracks, road courses, street courses now with Chicago and now San Diego next year. You had dirt racing with Bristol a couple of years ago. It seems like every single week there's a variety on the track. And you look at the schedule right now, we're in the middle of 4 of 9 races. Yes, maybe they could sprinkle them out better in the calendar, but when you look at the NASCAR calendar this year, 6 road course races. It's out of 36 points races, 37, 38 if you count the Clash and the All-Star race. Do we really have that many road course races, or is it just we're a little fatigued because of the schedule set up this summer? I understand that, absolutely, but NASCAR claims themselves as a diverse racing series. Road course racing is part of the future of NASCAR. Now, do I want to see it take up 10, 15 races a year? Absolutely not. Oval racing is still the bread and butter that makes NASCAR what it is, but 6, 7 races a year, when you really look at it, it's not even a quarter of the season. So let's not freak out yet. Let's calm down a little bit. And it's also good to do road course racing because it grows the sport. New eyes, you're bringing yourself to new markets, especially with now street courses on the table. It's good for NASCAR to expand their horizons outside of just primarily the Southeast it's historically been. And I get it. It's more travel cost. Some fans aren't used to going out of their kind of bubble of the Southeast, but I promise you, it's not the end of the world if they add 1 or 2 more road courses. Maybe even get rid of the Roval. Maybe then go back to Mexico. They keep the schedule fresh and mix it up. That's all I am asking for. When Brad Keselowski says we only need, a handful, Brad's not great at road course racing. Look at his stats the last 10 years. Of course he doesn't want more of that. He'd rather be out there at Atlanta and Talladega, where he has really good potential speed to win these races. It's not a factor at road courses. And yeah, I'm being facetious. It's probably not just that. It's probably just people wanting old school NASCAR. But you might as well get used to it, because 6, 7 road course races a year really isn't that big in the grand scheme. We just have to spread it out in the schedule. I'm okay with that. But let me know your thoughts down below about Brad Keselowski's thoughts. Do we need more road course racing in NASCAR? Are we good where we at? Do we have a problem with road course racing overall? And of course, the Martinsville clock saga. Hopefully we have those back. And Cody Ware with a vicious impact. Hopefully he is okay, and we can finally focus on Sonoma this weekend, where it's going to be SVG versus the world. Can he go back to back? We'll see. Going to have a hangover off wine if that's the case, and he'll be tweeting up a storm off of the wine. But make sure you subscribe to Breaking Bob for more NASCAR content. Like this video if you like what you saw. It helps me out a ton here. I'll see you next time. Tomorrow night we've got ARCA on Friday, Xfinity Series on Saturday, Cup on Sunday. A lot of action from Sonoma and wine country. Stay tuned for more. See you next time.